Hi, in this video we are going to explain how to legalize an apostille and Italian marriage certificate. But first, please let me introduce you to MultiLex. We are a services agency based in Italy and we help individuals and companies navigate the intricacies of the Italian bureaucracy. So what is a marriage certificate? In this context, marriage certificate refers strictly to the basic certificate, also known as certificato di matrimonio, which is the most streamlined document issued by Italian authorities to certify a marriage. It is a distinct document from the full copy of the marriage record, copia integrale dell'atto di matrimonio, or estratto per copia integrale dell'atto di matrimonio, and it contains only essential information about a marriage. The Italian marriage certificate is an official public document and it can be subject to legalization or apostille. The apostille or the legalization are signature authentication procedures, and they verify a document status as an official public document. They do not certify the factual contents of the document, and they authenticate the signature as belonging to a public official acting in official capacity, for example, the civil registry officer. But are they always required? Well, there may be specific exemptions applicable to certain documents, including the marriage certificate we're discussing in this video, by virtue of international agreements or regulations applicable to both the issuing and the receiving country. However, while the laws of some countries do not strictly mandate an apostille legalization, requirements may vary. It is essential to verify each case, as the receiving entity may still exercise its discretion and request formal authentication. What are the differences between the apostille legalization? The legalization is a more complex multi-step procedure that also involves consular authorities, so the embassies and the consulates, while the apostille is a streamlined legalization procedure which usually involves only one entity. Determining which procedure is required is very easy. You need to check whether that specific document, the Hague Convention of the Apostille, on the Apostille of 1961 applies, and if it does, then you need the apostille, and if it does not, then you will need legalization. Of course, provided that there are no exemptions. The competent authority for Italian marriage certificates, so for legalizing or apostilling Italian marriage certificates, is the prefecture or prefettura. For an Italian document to be subject to legalization or apostille, the following criteria must be met. Document needs to be in paper format, it needs to have an ink signature, and it needs to be stamped. The signature on the document needs to be registered in the registers of the competent authority, so with the prefettura, and issuing official's name needs to be in capital letters and needs to be complete. And then there may be additional requirements for the document to be apostille or legalized. And what happens after the apostille? Well, you can handle translation of the document directly in the destination country, which makes things easier and faster. In case the document, however, requires legalization, then there may be potential additional requirements from consular authorities. You will need to pay consular fees, and you will need to translate the document. Most of the time, you will need to translate the document before the legalization at the consulate. There are several agreements, regulations which exempt the document from legalization and apostille. The most important one is EU regulation of 2016, number 1191, which is applicable to all EU member states. If the Italian marriage certificate is intended for use in another EU country, please note that it can be issued accompanied by a multilingual standard form pursuant to the EU regulation of 2016, number 1191, and currently not all Italian municipalities issue the multilingual standard form, even though they should. If you have questions or doubts, please contact us at info@multilex.it for inquiries and quotations. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.